Hello YouTube, it's Tim Ingham here, bringing you what I would call, I guess, a Q&A for, which I mentioned on the Facebook recently, which got a slight response, so I'll go with a good response.
It's not a good response.
Shush, it will be. And the idea being is 4 questions will be selected in the, will hopefully be in the comment section below for this video. That's Facebook page, alright, fine. But as this is the first one, I've just made up what I believe to be 4 quite relevant questions, which we'll go through with quick succession, as it's been discussing it in general. And yeah, if you can just comment below either your own thoughts on these questions, and more importantly, I would say the questions for when we next do it, depending on how many questions and how frequently they get posted. Depends how quickly we can do this, so it's entirely up to you really, but without further ado, the first one being thoughts on G-guards. Aaron, go.
I like G-guards, they're very helpful, they help me guard and I can sometimes do other stuff.
G-guards, I think, they're useful for the game, but it's ridiculous how helpful they are to the game.
Yeah, I want to add on to my point that I originally didn't think they'd actually do much because there's only 4 cards in your deck, but you find them quite a lot.
Yeah, having the heal in hand, like I did a game earlier, I generally didn't want to guard that 10k when I knew there was no point, because I wanted to G-guard later, because I couldn't fulfill its effect to put stuff back to the deck. So I held on to it.
Gears, yeah.
I've already started affecting my guard style because of G-guards.
Fez?
Massive requirement of the game that has been needed for such a long time, and now that it's here, happiness. Faz is happy.
Happy Faz is good. Happy.
Yay!
Good happy Faz. I like happy Faz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also got some of the darkest text in the game so far.
Yeah, for Bermudas.
Yeah, I mean, G-guards in general, of course, they help. It's the power creep that was of the power on the Vanguard. We've been through it before, where it's been Legion power, then as Stride power. It's no, you'd break my power and things, but yeah, it's so big. It's like, I know, a perfect guard, crit for game or something, but now because you have them, you have the capabilities of guarding an extra 20, like doubling the power of 1 card. So it's 20k guard, isn't it? So think about it, 11, 20, that's 31, which is generally what it's stacking for.
Yeah.
So that 1 heal is basically saying, okay, now I've dropped that, I can do 1 to pass, 2 to pass, whatever extra I drop.
Think of it that way, that that heal for the G-guard is basically catching you up to your opponent's Vanguard. So then from there it's like a normal guard. So where they've done a stride just cost you that one extra. I know, but like card advantage.
Would you say it's a bit like a perfect guard in that sense?
Yeah.
In to the pass way, because it's a heal trigger and a 10k guard is basically perfect guarding with a 10k shield.
Yeah, but it also comes down to the difference in the G-guards to fulfill the plus 5k effect. So at the moment, all the ones which are out generic plus 5k if you fulfill X condition. Some are easier to do, some are just stupid.
Some are abusable.
And some are abusable. So Gears, for example, I put 2 cards, a trigger and a normal unit back to my deck.
Assuming you can shuffle, it's really good.
Which in Gears you just time loop and can shuffle.
If it's in the
but then some, you just use it and it's done. So it's you either use it early and it's like, well, it's 20k, great, or you use it and you can abuse it.
In all honesty though, from what I've used of G-guards, I tend to use them more on the rear guards and the Vanguard.
I was going to make that point. It seems to be...
most of the time it's still Vanguard or perfect guard it or no guard, fuck it. And then G-guard goes onto the rear guard with the trigger dump.
There's lots of ways they can develop this as well. I mean, you've got already one that when you guard, you can choose one of your units and it just can't be attacked. So it's options in guarding sense, but yeah,
It's going to develop more and more when we've seen, because I think even now we've had some sneak previews of what is out in Season 7, so there's the Slaney G-guard, which
Kagura one.
is absolutely utility for the Unity effect, so it activates Unity, it also allows you to free up Unite, thank you. I don't play Paladins, I just hate them.
I know.
So yeah, you've got the Unite aspect, it frees up the space, it gives the abilities on there, you've got the Kagura one that Mikey was quite happy about.
You've got the Angle one.
It's all
no one's
there.
happy about because it's another angle card.
I heal one, I take a damage. It's a trigger.
Fun times.
Abusable.
So it's just nice because The ones that we've seen at the moment are a very good introduction. They have changed the game state dramatically, which...
More than expected.
Yeah, I think that's a question that we'll actually get onto in a second. So, I think that's about it, I can say.
Yeah, I don't want to go too much because it goes to the next question.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay,
Good
fine.
game needed them. Thanks.
To get this week.
Keep it up, Bushy.
Okay, so how it changes decks. In any way, would you change the way you've built the deck? And I guess, because it's not one of the questions, you can include, did it change how much effect does it have on the G-zone? But that's very brief because it's a very simple answer for it.
Specifically G-guards.
Right, going round table or just...
Yeah, that's the idea. It's easier, isn't it?
Okay, so at the moment, with my current meta-ish decks, no, I would not change the way my deck is played, but I have seen some G-guards that have potential for specific kinds of decks. So...
Like Link Joker.
I don't know about your ones. I was
No,
going
I
to say,
didn't
like...
the Link Joker G-guard.
Because Genesis has got a really, really good one. The problem is Genesis are really crap at the moment, in my opinion. But the fact is basically, I guard, I soul charge free from the drop zone. It's a nice way to like filter out your drop zone for that stand trigger to send everything back into the deck. That would be amazing, but there's no way to consistently do it or any pressure in terms of the deck to do it. But depending on what cards come out, you could manipulate your deck to do something like that.
And you're kind of taking a step back doing the Regalia stuff, though, if you do that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You could do the Regalia stuff not in a Regalia deck, is my point. Because that would... It is hard to explain, but
yeah, I see
you get the
process.
point.
Yeah, it's there.
So, go on Alan's point. So, the G-guard doesn't benefit Chaos Breaker as a Link Joker deck, purely because the skill is you lock yourself, and Chaos Breaker inherently doesn't unlock itself. But in a G-guard, in a GB focus deck, like the Messiah, it benefits it. And changing your deck around, it basically... Because of the expansion of the G-zone, yeah, my first thought was I'd only use 4 G-guards. And I think that was maybe most people's first thought, is I would only really use 4, because when are you going to get more off? Until you realise you can abuse it. But then it's, well, I actually end up using like 6 or maybe 7 G-guards, because they have some options. But your G-zone, you basically go, whatever card you had at 2 in there, which may be your finisher, you now just put at 4.
Yeah.
So you, instead of going, so for me it's next stage once. Now it's allows me sort of done. Now I can go next stage again. But changing the deck wise, I don't see how you would change your deck with it because you've still got 4 heals in it.
I think it's the point that,
and so
depending on what your G-guard effect was, if you can get that effect off, it could affect the way cards interact in your deck.
Yeah, because it's allowed me to change Dark Irregular in a sense of I've taken out one card which does like basically a net soul charge 2, because if I can G-guard once, that's done what that card is. So I can put more options in my deck because it fulfills what my deck needs to do, which is soul charge.
Yeah.
Okay, so it develops options in terms of your current build and your G Guardians because of the options of restricting things, you can extra guard. It's nice to have the options. But in regards to how the deck built, more so.
That's what I mean. Like, as you
Well,
already said,
with Dark Irregular.
it allows him to take out cards at soul charge because his G-guard's now doing the soul charge for him.
Triggers, no. Well, you're still running 4 triggers. You're still running 4 heals. If your deck is aggressive, you're still running 12 crit. It's not going to help that change that.
Because we did discuss it before. Aaron brought a valid point about guarding amounts. So you were saying about it's basically an extra 5k guard becomes in your deck because the heal trigger.
Oh, you want to get onto that point? Why don't you just say so? Right. It's going to be hard to explain.
But I need to put my counter bit into it.
It's fine.
Which is what
so
the answer
basically, now that you've basically upgraded a heal. So if you now have a heal in your hand and you guard with it, it becomes a 15k guard, giving you the extra 5k defensively in terms of trigger lineup. So the way I looked at it is, if you have draws in your deck, it's half a draw trigger. Because if you just take a draw trigger in damage, you would draw a card, netting you 5k extra guard. So that's kind of what the heal trigger is now doing, because you're guarding with the heal, but it's got the extra 5, which is kind of what the draw trigger did. Obviously, you don't draw the... If you were to drive check the draw, you'd get 2 cards, sort of. If that makes sense.
I see what
It's really hard to explain.
The mathematics behind it are too varied because it takes into account what you draw into.
I'm aware, but the way I kind of summed it down to is a heal trigger has now got the half effects of a draw trigger with a sense of an extra 5k guard, which means that potentially aggressive decks can take out the draws and put in more crits to be more aggressive.
But my counter argument to that was it doesn't change the deck. It's literally only there to help guard that extra bit amount. Why would you reduce the amount of guarding capabilities you've got just because you've gained another option that you could potentially find?
I'll be honest.
It's not. It doesn't. I don't think it changes the deck triggers or whatsoever.
I would say it heavily depends on what deck you're playing. Because for me,
I would agree with Faz on that.
For me, I've been solely built on. I don't like to really play GB environments because if you're relying on Generation Break, all it needs is for someone to sit on grade 2, or is that who goes first.
Not anymore.
Exactly that. Now that all these G guards come up, I'm more inclined to go with a deck that's going to be using G Zone because of two factors.
So
Number one,
triggers.
It's nothing to do with triggers.
That's my point.
No, he wants to talk about the point of triggers, but in terms of it depends on the deck.
You said deck build.
Yeah. I'm going a completely new deck because I'm like, well, I don't need to have a grade 3 in my hand as well to go ride stride. I can theoretically go ride, G-guard, everything's now active. As opposed to before.
That's fine, yeah. So I mean, in terms of Guardians, yes, it changes your deck in relation to you. If you do have a heal trigger, then it promotes faster play.
I'm getting rid of my Prism Duo theory and going for something completely different because I've got this avenue open of being able to have GB1 even if I'm just got a grade 3 in hand. But
it's a lot more easier to access. While it's not guaranteed, it's still there.
It opens
and
even
if you can't stride, you can still get your power ring effects.
Don't get me wrong, my trigger lineup's going to remain as it is, and I can understand the whole draw versus heal and.
It was just a little discussion we had the other day, and Mike obviously wanted to bring it up, but he didn't say it outright.
It's because
what it came down to when we discussed the other day is if you've got a plussy deck, so an aggressive plussy deck, so basically Royals is the easiest example. They're running 12 crit anyway. It's not they won't run draws. They wouldn't even think of running draws anyway because they're plussing, so it's not going to benefit them in any way. If you've got a deck which doesn't plus but it wants to be aggressive, you still would run draws because if you can't plus, you need to plus somehow. That's only helping you in guard terms of potentially my heal is a 15k, so I can take out a draw which would be 2 cards, but you still need to plus so you still keep your draws.
Yeah. It's hard to kind of pinpoint which deck it'd actually help. I guess
it wouldn't. There's no difference. You can either look at it as I'm drawing a card, whoop, good for me, or I'm guarding slightly more so I don't have to rely on a 5k shield.
So you start thinking about it's not going to change anything. So in terms of triggers, it's not going to change anything. But all it does,
it's just a 4.
The biggest threat though with how it changes decks is if you do G guard, then a typical example would be you can first turn Lambros, you can first turn Saint No. You can just do any kind of set GB2 stride. That is that is the scariest thing about them.
But at GB2 first stride, it's not as.
Well, it depends what it is. So it's like next stage. You're not going to go into it. But if it's something like Lambros,
it really depends. It really depends.
Why would you not Lambros first turn if you could?
If they want 2 damage.
No. Yeah, basically 2. Go for it. First check. Okay, I can take theoretically 3 before I've got to care about. Oh god,
it's far more aggressive. Is my point. It's more attacks. Why would I not go into it?
Aqua Force, it benefits, but the problem with that is they have more chance to get triggers to make guards easier. But with most other decks, it's pretty much their big push card seems to be I have a crit.
So bottom line is it doesn't change decks, which was again we've come to before. That their first stride is their second stride, so it doesn't make a difference.
It just gives them the option of, if potentially they got a crit early in the game, so your opponent's maybe at 3, you can go first stride Olivia, if you're Bermudez, and go, I've got a crit.
Or first stride St. Blow, first stride
So it's that whole, if I got a crit early, then I can basically go into my finisher, because you're at that stage. If you're at 2, and I go into a card with a crit, I still see that as double crit, you kill me. I can take the crit if I don't have that PG, fine. And but if you got a crit early or that aggressive damage rush early, and your finisher has a crit, then you can go into it unless you saw that PG.
Yeah, it goes back to if you've built a 12 crit deck. Crit for game, okay, then that's a bit douchey with 12 in there. Double crit for game, Yusaki MFer. Simple as that.
Isn't
it, Mike?
It entirely depends on which deck.
Right, we've spent too long on this. Move on.
Okay. Next.
Depends on the deck, but yeah.
Yeah. So
this is still scary. Thoughts on the 2-round skip qualifiers? So the solo regionals.
So the UK shop qualifier for regional stuff.
Why did it take 3 years for Bushy Road to create some kind of semi-competitive shop environment again?
Yeah, I mean, I'll open saying that. I mean,
Well, Faz opened.
Sorry, I've been holding that in for years.
Yeah,
it's. I don't know what to think of it, to be honest. I mean, they've kind of taken the element of a shop qualifier to then go to the next round because you're apparently the best in your area. Is what the logic was.
Travelling to that area.
Yeah, but they need to know that. And they've taken a bit of that, but you just get a little kind of you skip the first 2 rounds.
But it's to promote a competitive scene in the UK because without going to like another tournament, we just go to our locals.
Yeah.
Right. But this is actually making us go to other places to see other decks to compete everywhere else. Potentially, no one uses 7 Seas if we go down to Brighton. Or the 7 Seas the way you built it.
Why would they not use it?
I think anyone builds a deck like I do here, let's be honest.
But if your deck wins and you top, more people can see it and go, oh, I never thought of that idea. Like, sometimes you see decks online, you're like, I thought of that, but oh, that's the combo they use. And it just opens up
it does.
Vastly more competitive scene.
Yes, it does promote... I'll get to you in a sec, boy. Yes, it does promote a competitive scene, I agree. But I think it's a little wrong to include it in a different competitive scene in terms of gaining a benefit in it. I think it should have its own type... What?
That's fine, character.
I think... Because if you think about it, Yuri, you might not be able to go to these qualifiers for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all I can go to is regionals. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I go there, and there's X amount of people who have got an advantage on me skipping the 2 rounds for some reason.
That would be the same as 3/4. That would be the same as half the people by that time who have won 2.
Right. I'm gonna get my point, but I know Faz wants to say a lot of stuff because I know he's done other stuff for other card games. But my point is that I agree it's nice to have like an expanded competitive scene, etc. But I'm happy the fact they bring back store qualifiers because I missed that back from Team League like 2 or 3 years ago because that was bloody amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not too happy that it's just 2 rounds that you skip. I would literally rather it be like top 3/4 from each store qualify and can go to nationals. Because I'd rather them at least try to condense the amount of people that freaking go there to at least control the amount and size of people.
A lot more tournaments in that sense.
So
I'm aware of that, but this is a good start.
So, Aaron, my elitist captain.
That's basically...
Yeah. That's what you wanted to say, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
That was what I was trying to say. Like,
you want it. So basically, store qualifier is a separate entity from the nationals.
So either make it a separate entity or part of it more to the extreme. You can't just do a little bit because yes, it's an incentive to do it. But at the same time, 2 rounds, is it really worth it?
Yes, it is.
It's not so much the 2 rounds.
Dramatically worth it.
It's a nice benefit. But at the same time,
how many rounds has there been in the past?
I know it's a benefit.
There's been a maximum of 8.
I think about 7 or 8. And I think the worst they ever got was 9 because they had a weird thing. They basically did a weird.
So therefore,
final round for a certain amount of people.
You're entering an XO at round 2.
Yeah.
Which means that you can fluff up twice quite easily.
You go. I wouldn't fluff up twice.
Yeah, you can do, and you're still in with a chance. Even if you lose your first game, okay, there are still loads of people that have died out before you.
Is it?
Yes.
It is back in double
It's going to be double elimination or double elimination.
But you've done other tournaments for other card games.
I've basically used to be Konami based. I've basically done Bushy Road in other things. I've even Wizard at one point.
How did they organise their tournaments?
Okay then, so basically if you look at one of the most popular games in sort of like the world at the moment, it's sort of like Yu-Gi-Oh! If you look how they do it, they break their tournaments into 3 different structures. You've got regionals, you've got nationals, and you've got Euros. The way that you qualify for Euros is that you're in the top X amount for nationals. The way that you qualify for nationals is that you're in the top X for regionals. But the problem with that is there are regionals every month, continuously, multiple locations, and it's not the top 2 or 3, it's like the top 50 qualify for it.
Well,
so you can't do that with Bushy Road because with Vanguard, what's happened is I used to run Vanguard tournaments. I still do occasionally as sort of like a guest judge here and there. The problem is when Vanguard first started, player base was, for argument's sake, 60. You can go to tournaments, there'll be 60. Slowly but surely, because there's not this competitive scene and there hasn't been anything of why turn up for shop tournaments just to win cards because I go out and I buy the packs or the promos are online, etc. So what's happened is those shop tournaments have gone from 60 to 30 to 50 to, right, we'll have a small little section of people playing Vanguard, let's stick with Pokemon, let's stick with everything else that we play. Yeah. What this does is go, right, hey guys, remember that game that you used to like playing but don't really bother playing because there's nothing worth fighting for? There's a prize.
I'm aware of this, but I still think that, like, I said 4 because I have no idea. I've never really done that kind of competitive scene with Yu-Gi-Oh! Or anything. Yeah. But it's that kind of logic that this is the way to filter out people
you can develop that in the future. Don't get me wrong. You can do this.
Yes, and that's what I want. But I like the fact they've started with this.
You can't. If you was to do the top 50 qualifier finance, that's everyone that turns up to the shop tournament. Can you remember when we went to a little pokey place and there was 10 people?
I'm aware
in trios. That's 10 people, not 10 teams.
I'm aware of this, but it would be the kind of, like you said, Yu-Gi-Oh! Sense of they have X amount,
but
several times a month.
But they would have to do it,
and they'd have to do that.
Year.
Yeah.
And they'd have to then expand that throughout Europe, because at the moment you can't just say, right, everyone in the UK instantly qualifies. You'd have to build up something in France, Paris, Spain, Italy, and then you get to that environment where people are travelling.
I'm aware of this, and that's what they want them to do.
Yeah, but this is just testing the waters. You can't expect them. Big steps are made of lots of little ones.
This is the step up from the French circuit.
So just to finish it, all right? Just to finish this part, it's literally a 2-point thing, isn't it? We'd like it to be taken more seriously, but it's just currently being tested. That is it.
No. Okay, this is what you want to say. I am saying that this is a fantastic thing because it's just going to re-energise the game.
Yes.
And the stores, because the stores don't want to run.
But me and Aaron just want it to be taken to more the extreme, but it can't yet because they're just testing the waters, as you say.
Yeah.
So that is it.
Absolutely fine.
Okay. Right, so the final point, the question is thoughts on the Japanese restriction editions and if we need it over here, and that will include the ones that are being looked at.
So
the ones that are being...
I'm going to have to get that list up.
Right, so at the moment they've recently said...
Just start with the main things. What went to 1?
Yeah, as I said, they've recently said from June something...
Yes, June something, Angle Satan Robot.
Angle stand trigger, which goes back, that's a stupid combo, and a Neo Nectar stand trigger, which can do a similar stupid combo of almost infinite power.
No, it is infinite. That's the point.
I know, that's what I mean.
I was going to say, yeah.
Okay, so
why?
So the skill is...
Yeah, so it's Refrost and whatever the stand is, I can't remember the name. It's fine, so they go to 1. But the point is, the stand goes constantly back and forth. You multi-vitamin on the field. When a unit's called, you choose 3 units with the same name, give them 5k. And then you send the stand back, and then you draw it back, and it's just constant. So you will get infinite power. They generally can't guard, and if you hit a stand, it is more infinite power, is the point. That is the combo. I've never seen it, but that's apparently what it does.
They didn't want the game to go down to I'm going to spend 8 minutes doing this ridiculously long combo to guarantee you can't just go, it's 50, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, to go, right, it's 87k at least, swing at your face, perfect guard or no guard. They just didn't want the game to be that stupid because infinite power is ridiculous. And it just drags out because they want to move to 25-minute rounds.
Every single game that I know of has destroyed infinite loop.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's an infinite loop. At the end of the day, it's just got to go. Refrost is just too good. You counterblast, but then you can send that counterblast back, so you basically send 2 cards back for nothing, and it, to put 2 cards in damage, draw a card. Obviously, with Angle Feather, it just makes them buff up, and you've literally done it for no cost. And the fact that you can draw back the stand and do it again, it's done. I get it. It makes insane power. And it's a really good card.
It's really annoying. Let's point out. Any loop is so time-consuming and annoying to watch.
So potentially you can get the stand trigger stupid loop off.
You can.
If you're ridiculously lucky.
Yeah. Let me just
you could effectively get to the point where your deck is like 3 cards and just constantly put the stands back constantly and do an infinite loop again. So yeah, I get it.
But you would have to
but then you have to drive
stack
with your Vanguard and
you just do a Vanguard or whatever. But it depends on the situation.
You could technically still do it with 1 in there because the card goes back and but it's not an infinite loop. You can't guarantee yourself going la 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 la. How much power is that? I'm going to do it 10 more minutes. La 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 la.
Yeah, at the stage of the game, it's a 1 in 6 chance that you'll fly it out because there's 4 in there. Yeah.
But no, it's fine. Now to go. Right. Limited to 2. Is Cat Butler limited for us? I can't remember.
No, never has
No,
been.
no.
The
Okay.
only limitations we've got is our 2 starter friends from
And-
way back in
and
the-
Odysseus.
And Odysseus.
and Odysseus.
So Odysseus is still on here at 2 because
Because
we
that
knew that.
needs to go
I
from
couldn't
here.
remember
Yeah.
about Cat Butler. But
Right.
Cat Butler's at 2.
Odysseus was purely because they would do stupid loops, and it actually counteracts all the cards which stop your opponent stalling, because they would just re-ride and have a different Vanguard, so therefore you can't do your counterblast 2. You have you stalled out.
So they're still re-riding, even if it's not grade 3, it's still riding.
There's too many benefits. It thins the deck by
And it
one.
also counters bugs.
It thins the deck by 1, and it gains power, what you call, so it hits a nice 19 number a lot of the time. So that's lovely.
But that's if you play it that way, and then you've also just got the whole Legion combo
Yeah.
box. But yeah.
If you want to do that.
Cat Butler, I mean, I guess I get it, but we've moved away from Legion so much now, I'm not still sure why.
It's still there for the fact that the option is available that if your grade 2 doesn't hit, it's still a powerhouse if you think about it.
And you can still potentially go, you're at 4 damage,
Yeah.
Legion, Cat Butler, swing, what are you going to do? Can you guard all the... Can you guard
10 to your intercepting unit, and let's go.
Yeah, it's can you guard it all? No.
Fine. First Vanguards, so Conroe and Barkle, we already know this.
Yeah, Conroy has to stay.
And cards that are being looked at.
What? The Spike Brothers one doesn't.
When Spy Brothers ever get competitive, they might be like that.
I know, but they can still go Counter Blast, Search Heal Trigger, bring it on.
Or Perfect Guard.
They go G-Guard, GB2.
That's fine.
So, nothing!
Say Spike Brothers' best thing is a perfect guard or a heal trigger.
All you need is one unit makes competitive.
Keep going.
Moving on. Cards that are being looked at. First card on the list is Sanctuary Guard Regale. So the Stride.
But that's always been looked at because you get big number and you can call a unit, it's still big number. It's going to be looked at, I don't think it'll ever be touched. But it'll just be looked at. Because if they touch it, it breaks the deck.
So once again, this is still Japan, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they want to bring everything on that over, they're being watched.
I mean, do you think it should be?
No. Because if you...
From a Western point of view, no, it shouldn't be.
Also, if you touch that, you technically then have to touch the Dual Knight one, because they do the same power surge.
It's not even that, basically. The threat that's
Dual Knight
more here is
the thing-
MLB thing rather than Regalia thing.
It depends, because Dual Knight is restrictive, because it forces your deck into pure Dual Knights, because only the
But
Dual
they've
Knights will
already
get the
done that
power.
Which is oh so hard.
I'm just saying,
Sort of
but
isn't it?
there is at least a restriction on it.
Yeah, but that restriction is you have to
And it's
have...
only 6k on
Yeah,
the
but that
first
restriction, you have
stride.
to have a...
This is 9k.
You have to have a grade 3 heart, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's still restricted. You have to have that.
Yeah, but your grade 1s could be anything.
So you still need a specific heart.
Literally the units that get the power. In Dual
Yeah,
Knights
so
are
basically
Dual Knights.
there's two Regalia grade 3s that you can
There's going to be
mark about.
third, isn't there?
There's a
So
third one.
there you go, so it basically doesn't.
Next card is Tidal.
They will never touch that. They should, but they
That's
won't.
always questionable.
Purely because
it is a
Atlas will
big
have
move.
no early game if they get rid of it.
Thank you.
Or if they touch it anyway. They'll have nothing.
If you get rid of that, they'll never top.
Because they got rid of Odysseus,
Oh, what a
they
shame.
cannot
It's-
touch Tidal.
It's the exact same for the next card, Laurel.
They've even come out and said DP are rubbish without Laurel, and because of the new DP support, which basically you rest a unit to give your Vanguard power, they can't. Laurel is not used in that deck, so only used in the deck it's currently used in, which isn't popular enough or good enough to top without Laurel, so they can't touch Laurel. They've already said that basically.
From the DP player's mouth, kids.
Next one is Nurse of Brokenheart. So, if you don't know what the card name is, that's the
They were-
GB1 pony, basically.
Oh,
One for-
yeah, that's so
They won't touch that because they've touched the because they touched the stand trigger. They
Thank you,
won't touch
Yuri.
that.
my argument to that is I think it's the only card in the front row in the entire game. Because you can argue Tom, but Tom, I think you've got a G guard now, so it's fine. That you have to swing at first. Or you really want to swing at
You don't
first.
have to, but you'd like to get rid of it.
Because otherwise you just go, oh look, I do this, and then I gain power on my Vanguard, and you can't
Yeah.
hit anymore.
But decks which have retirement as their
Retirement's
feature
also- yeah,
will
retirement.
destroy it.
I played Yuri against Gear Chronicle so many times, you just kept sending it back,
Yeah, so
I mean,
so-
I would love to have gone G-Guard. You can't hit that, because the Dark Cray Elemental thingy.
Resist it. Yeah.
Yeah, but,
I
you
know
know,
on
he
my
kept
stride.
doing it on stride, so I can't do anything about it.
It's the
But I'm with Yuri in the sense that they're not going to touch it because they touched the stand trigger. And I don't think they should touch it.
I think it should. It's
it would have been
far too
right.
long.
It would have been one or the other.
It's
in my
been
opinion.
nerfed. The whole abuse of it has been nerfed quite dramatically.
Because now to basically, if they get rid of that, then the only way you can get infinite power would be if you went specific the G break
I mean,
grade 3.
it's yeah, like...
Other than that, you've got ponies on the side, but your Vanguard still...
You think that's broken, surely the stride break's broken, because it's the same thing, but you can't retire my Vanguard.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. It's called delete.
You know my point, though. Like, I can still do my whole, I guard with this, swap out a damage, oh look, I get 2k. So
yeah, but it's that you gain another 2k if you had that build, is my issue.
I'm aware, but you can still target the Rigard and get rid of it.
But my point is I have to target it. Just carry on. That was all my point. That was as far
I'm
as
playing a
goes.
retiring deck.
I'm not playing a retiring deck. No, you're assuming I'm playing a retirement deck.
No, but
you
this is
just
the point.
said-
That's their weakness, is a retirement deck. Whereas they can potentially beat down a rushy deck, which could then beat down a retirement deck.
Well, no,
because
rushy
if
deck
you
is
get
also-
that loop, there's always a loop. This deck loses to this deck, loses to this deck, loses to this deck, loses to, and you can go around that loop. If you nerf this deck, you may as well call it Spike Brothers and not ever play it, because it's rubbish.
I don't like the fact that I have to target it first, but that's just my opinion.
So basically, that's even
Okay.
better because you can basically swing into
Force,
it.
Tidal.
Pressured.
I'm pretty much have to attack Tidal.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. What?
You have to get rid of Tidal.
Okay.
I'm a grade one. I'm a grade one.
No,
Tidal
no,
is not staying there for more than 30 seconds.
listen. You are grade 3.
Yeah.
What's Tidal doing?
Getting a number of attacks.
Nothing, because it absolutely raped me when I was on grade 2.
But that was prior to that.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
and
that's
grade
GBO.
one.
Potentially one turn,
That's-
or the
no, it's two
remainder of the game of who's on GB.
Right. Tidal gets you the number of attacks you need for Aquaforce.
No, there are other options. You don't necessarily need it.
The Tidal is so easy to get 2 attacks in just
That aren't hitting.
one card.
That aren't hitting.
Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
You make them.
You can hit. You can make them.
How?
You
You
use
make
it.
them-
You use your
You give them
intelligence. You
power, you
go.
can give them Lambros, you can
Yeah.
give them 10k.
Requires combos and specific
You can
usage.
trigger
Right,
dump
Mikey,
it and
early
it gets
game,
them
Aquaforce, that's your game plan.
Yes.
Aquaforce is to rush niggle, right? And then, so your late game,
You don't have to target
but
it
your late game,
to let me hit properly.
your late game then turns into, well, you're like high damage anyway. All I need is rubbish niggles potentially, and then Lambrook, right?
And on a side note, you have used it as the excuse of on turn 2, on grade 2 it's done, and then on grade 3 it's not as strong. But it's absolutely abusive if you go first, because you go 1, 2,
Yes, but you don't
double
have
tidal.
to, you don't
Bom,
have
bom, bom,
to
bom.
retire it to allow me to hit you properly.
The amount of times you cannot get 4 attacks off
You've had
because
to-
you get rid of Tidal.
Hitting cross-ride, fair enough, because it gains 2k when it's switched.
I really...
But hitting 15, whatever it is.
Can we just
Okay,
close
so
this? It's
moving
not
on-
going
moving on to
anywhere.
it.
We think Tidal is one that you target. You think the Broken Heart is one you have to target. We're going to leave it at that because we're not getting anywhere. The last card is TikTok Worker.
No, that doesn't
That's
target.
That's the
Literally
time leap
for
starter for
It is for a combo, which is my grade 1 or 2 attack.
It's mellow.
I time leap it. I don't neg myself because I time leap it, so I get a card
Yeah.
and another niggle.
It's the ruling on a combo. So there's a grade 1, as Yuri said.
Oh, I remember this
When
one.
you
The one that
attack,
kicked
it
off.
gets
Yeah.
4k, and at the end of the battle, you send it to the back to the deck and call grade 0 at rest. But the condition of that card is that you get the 4k, at which point you will call grade 0 regardless what happens to this grade 1. So you time leap it before it goes back to the deck, get the grade 0 out from the skill, and at the end of the turn, you call that grade 1 back.
Potentially.
And you
Yeah.
basically
Potentially-
get you get a net 0, but you can get like the extra attack out of it,
Yeah.
and then it,
There's an additional trigger.
You either
plus
get-
what the grade 1 does. You can either
Yeah.
draw it, you can pop it.
you either
can
grab a
flip
second
it, yeah.
TikTok to do another time leap, or you usually grab the crit trigger to go into some draw, or what some people do is get the stand trigger.
Yeah, and
And then you
effects.
time leap the stands, then that binds you draw.
But it's the
two
whole
cards.
point. You can, with 2 TikToks, you can go grade 1 attacks, no trigger, sweet. Time leap it into the grade 2. Grade 2 attacks, no trigger, sweet. Time leap to grade 3, niggle. So you've got 3 niggles because of 2 cards that are in your deck. And you haven't negged yourself, which is what, because they're supposed to go, that's attacked, come back at rest. It's for a combo, but that's all it's for. If you get rid of it, again, I don't see Gears potentially being as strong.
If I don't think they'd
Because
get rid of
it's
it, I think they would just limit it as a starting Vanguard if they did anything.
Kind of makes
yeah,
sense.
but then you'll just use the Chrono dude anyway.
Yeah, and you'd search
you
it out
do what
later.
most decks used to do, which was to have that as that and just have that in your deck anyway.
Yeah, I know,
Because the
but-
grade 1 searches it.
But again, it's not used enough in people's decks as more than one. There's so many variants you can do
So, do we actually
Of-
need then the ban list over here
for that. For that, no.
for everything?
Oh, for
But
everything.
What's the question?
for any of those cards that were being looked at,
I
I
say-
don't think any of them really need to.
No, see, I think the ban should come across and all the cards are being looked at, great. The fact that they're being looked at just means that they, basically in the Japanese format, they were used a lot and they top a lot. So we need to try and get a balance in the game. It needs to come across purely on the basis that the ones which are limited, we've got the Odysseus, Cat Butler, no one really cares about. Everyone over here hates Cat Butler. But we need the stand triggers infinite loop to limit.
I just don't like the fact that it's not limited. These limitations aren't applied here.
Because we don't have competitive scene.
Yeah, wait until after Nationals when we've tried out everything. Because the competitive scene took a hit over in America because of a certain sub company screwing everything up. But yeah,
you have to bear in mind
we've got the ability to do it. So as soon as it comes out in Europe, you've got the French circuit looking good, you've got us looking good. There's going to be a lot more, these are the clans that were being played and these were the clans that were topping.
And that's a lot more visibility of what is topping over here, as opposed to I go to a shop tournament and Billy always wins. Billy's broke.
I know.
Billy's awesome because he plays this weird deck that he bought money with, and we're all just using
it's the argument that I just see it as if these decks top over there, they should top over here. But then there's the argument that the meta changes based on where you are, and some decks use more than others. Therefore, the counter's different. Therefore, the meta's different. So But at the end of the day, I don't think the game's that varied to the point where it's going to be that different. I can look at those cards and see, they are used a lot over here as well.
Yeah, it was more applicable in the past when there was several months of change in between us.
But now it's like every month a new set. But it's the fact that infinite loops in games are usually bad. Because it means that thing is just stupid.
Well, every single competitive scene has banned their infinite loops.
Yeah.
As soon as you instigate an infinite loop, it's written into most rulings now, even with the Pokemon DS games as well. If you initiate an infinite loop, you forfeit. And that's what needed to be done here. So I think it was
because also
Slowpoke,
Recycle,
Slack Off, and Heal Pulse. That was it. Yeah.
Because
also basically just make your opponent continuously struggle for nothing.
Because also it comes down to the sense of if you're potentially stalling for time, like if the judge comes over and goes, right, you have 2 minutes left on the round, and by the end of the time, it's whoever's got highest damage loses. Potentially they go, it's my turn. I'm just going to do the infinite loop for as long as I can until you call time, and then swing. And then what are you going to do to stop that? Well, judge, he's stalling. No, I'm not. I'm doing my effects.
Yeah.
It's not my fault I can keep doing my effects. I can do it for as long as I need to stall this out. If you take out infinite loops, you take out that chance of douchery.
I just fear the extra 5 minutes isn't going to be worth it. 25 minutes. But
the thing in regards to that is time is if you have not got a distinct winner, it's a draw now.
Well, not yet. It's double loss, but some tournaments potentially could still say, right.
Then some tournaments aren't going with Bushy Road rules, which means that
we saw it in France where it wasn't time, right? You play out your turn, they play out their turn, then we see. But that's because it's a team-based thing. If you give them both a loss and it's 1-1, then it's a double loss for the team, and they wanted to get a result. They don't want to throw weird hiffy jigs.
So yeah, but that's a discussion for another time because that's not Japanese restrictions.
Yeah, that's more game mechanics.
So yes, that is pretty much the discussion. So as I said before, feel free to comment in the section below and let us know what you think of the same questions and what you'd like us to discuss in the future. But as I said, depends how frequently you guys post below, depends how quickly we can get back to a response, because obviously if there's only 2 questions asked there, then we have to wait for more to appear. So yes, feel free to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.